Mute. Yes. Dallas, please can't hear me, so we'll start that again. Big up, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Another Friday night, another panel with the lads at the Red Cartel. Hope everybody's doing well in the chat. I've got Connor with me tonight. I've got Man Like Ends, and I've got Chic in the building as well. So let's just dive straight into it. Look, this week there's been some breaking news from a few clubs, and I know even back end of last week. Obviously, the Noni Madueke news came out that he's going to need an operation and probably be out for a couple of months. Liverpool again had their own issues with injuries earlier in the week after the Southampton game. It turned out that our new centre-back, Giovanni Leone, is injured now, and it looks like he's tore his ACL, which means he's probably going to miss upwards of 12 months worth of football. I don't think Liverpool will be any real rush to get him back before the end of this season. Certainly, if we can alleviate that by getting somebody in January, who knows? It remains to be seen. But I wanted to start with United. I know, Sheik, we've only got you for the best part of half an hour. So, and Shane, he will be joining us as well. He's another Arsenal fan. But I wanted to just kind of get some of your thoughts. As you're starting to see teams now ramp up, you know, Manchester United are in a... Let me get it right. It's not a blessed position, because I know Manchester United would want to be playing in multiple competitions. As a United fan, that'd be the priority. But the reality is you're playing in pretty much one competition from now until January time, whereas you're seeing the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool playing two games a week, Champions League football one week, it might be the Carabao Cup the next, the Premier League. So we're playing a much higher volume of games, but you're already starting to see signs of members within the squads going down with injuries and taking some serious time out because of these injuries. Does that worry you as a United fan, or do you think the fact that you've got one game a week, it will actually help you manage the amount of injuries that you might potentially get at some point this season?
Yeah, obviously first, blessed for having me on. Shout out to the panel. Make sure you guys are all running up the likes and subscribing and supporting, of course. Yeah, I think one game a week, like obviously looking at it is a plus definitely to have. Considering this season was to be a season for us to trim down the squad quite a lot, especially after the season that we had last year. So us getting rid of a lot of the players like, you know, Garnacho, Højlund, Onana, a lot of the players that we did get rid of, I think that was going to happen anyways. And I think that was a reaction that us fans wanted to see after having a season like that. Also, just based off of the performances that those specific players that I mentioned had too, they just, you know, weren't good enough for however long that they've been here, so they needed to be shipped off. It does help us in the fact that because we were able to, or because we are only having one game a week, we are able to trim down our squad quite a lot and, you know, add a couple of additions, which I still think would be able to, you know, in terms of squad wise, help us. Because a lot of the things that we kind of struggled with last year was that actually. So us not having, you know, a second striker, even if we did, our manager wasn't playing it. Us not having, you know, defenders on the pitch, midfielders on the pitch. We had a couple of injuries based off of, you know, some of the competitions that we were in last year too. This year, it's obviously a little different. Like I said, we are able to trim down our squad. We're able to get some player additions, and we don't have to rely on, you know, playing one of our better players in, you know, European games and all these different competitions. So if anything, it should help us. I did mention this off stream. I'm not so much concerned about injuries for us because I think we'll be able to manage that. I am more so concerned about our January because some of our players are going to be going to AFCON. And I know a lot of you guys have your injury concerns, this and that, because of all the different competitions that you're playing in. But we're going to be losing a lot of our squad because of AFCON. There's Mazraoui, who's going to be gone. There's going to be Mbeumo, who's going to be gone. I think Ahmad is also going to be gone for AFCON too. And those three players, I think, just based off of just Mbeumo and Ahmad are crucial to our team. Whether they've been playing well or not, Ahmad, I know, hasn't started off the season well, but they're very crucial to our team. So I think in terms of a scare, it is that time period I'm looking at, okay, how is this manager going to adapt without an Mbeumo and an Ahmad? Two guys who like predominantly, Mbeumo's pretty much started every single game of ours on that right-hand side. Ahmad has been a player who has also, he's not necessarily played on the right hand side most of the time, but he's been on the pitch, and big, big players for this manager and for this squad. So yeah, I don't know how he's going to be able to manage or who he's going to decide to play where, but that's the scare for me. And you mentioned at the beginning of all
How
your
many
clubs.
players, Sheik? How many players have you got earmarked for AFCON?
I think it's those three. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. It's Ahmad, Mbuemo, and Mazraoui for sure.
Okay.
It would have been Onana, but Onana
Yeah,
obviously has been loaned, so
Yeah.
it's not him anymore. But it would have been those three. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I can just think at the top of my head. But if it does come back to me, I'll mention that player as well. But yeah, you guys mentioned like all your teams are competing for certain trophies and stuff this season. To be honest, we have a very, very massive game tomorrow, and you guys want to joke around and say whatever. I completely understand, but we have an opportunity to win back-to-back games tomorrow, and it's a big trophy for me. I'm not even kidding. It is a big trophy for me. If we can get over the line of winning 2 back-to-back games with this manager, I can actually sit here and be like, things have improved since last season.
It's a step. It's a step in the direction you need to be going. That's the direction of travel for United.
Yeah, and as bad as it sounds, as terrible as it sounds, because there are relegation sides last year that were able to win back-to-back games. There were sides that none of us rate that were able to win back-to-back games this year, last year. However, like you said, this is the reality of where we are in. We're not in a we're not in a reality where we can sit here and banter other teams about league titles and all those type of things. We can't, because we actually have to start from the bottom up. And from the bottom up, I think how you can improve on last season, especially with the performances and the results and the win percentage that this manager had, is start by winning 2 back-to-back games. Because I can actually sit there and be like, you know what, things actually are different. There is an improvement. This squad and these players, as bad as it sounds, have the mentality to win 2 games in a row, and then you build off of that and you go from there. But just also to add real quick, there has been improvements from last season. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not like it's still terrible the way that we play and all that type of stuff. However, there are still a lot of the problems that we see from last season too. I've said this in a lot of our first couple of games, that I'm still yet to see a lot of things from him in terms of our attack. But when I look at our attack and when we're playing well, games like the Arsenal game, games like the Burnley game, even this last Chelsea game, I often look at some of our new signings and I look at them being like, okay, in that Arsenal game, it was really Cunha pulling all the strings. A lot of these other games, it's Mbuemo who's actually playing really, really well. I'm so yet to see.
So far for me.
Yeah, I'm so yet to see a lot from Sesko, but I still see him doing a little bit better than what Rasmus Højlund was doing last year. And then I still sometimes come off with this conclusion that is it that Ruben Amorim has improved this team, or is it just our new signings and our better players performing better in our squad? Really is it? And I know it's only been 5 games and it's still too small of a sample size to judge based off of, but that's currently still the predicament that I'm stuck in, is that I'm not still entirely convinced from this manager. I'm still seeing some of the same problems. I'm still seeing him pick certain lineups and me not understand why he's picking those players, but there still has been improvement, though. It's not like there hasn't been improvement, but I just mentioned it's those things. Is it an improvement based off of the players that we signed, or is it how you are, shaping this team and how you are utilizing some of these players, and just also adaptation in your tactics as well? Because I think that's been a big thing about our system and how the system is a problem and this and that. And that's where kind of like our season is so far. Like Chelsea game, I'll quickly talk about that too. I was surprised that we won, to be honest, because like, again, it was a red card in the 5th minute that put the game towards us. It was also Maresca's changes that put the game favored towards us. But then again, I look at that second half when we are level on players in the game. It was 10 versus 10. And Chelsea dominated us, and they looked like they were the better team. And those are some of the problems when I refer to we're still seeing some of the issues from last year, is that why are we still playing the same way when we have 10 men and 11 men? I think you're supposed to make, a couple of changes, or there's supposed to be, some sort of message sent to the players. You need to keep the ball a little bit more better. Stop giving the ball away foolishly. Stop making foolish fouls like what Casemiro did. Stupid challenge, gets a red card, and then we're under pressure for that whole second half. And
well, I just wanted to ask this. No, it's okay. That's absolutely fine. I just wanted to ask the lads on the panel. You've seen it, and I know, Shane, you said it before. There'll be certain games where you look at from an Arsenal perspective and you go, they're going to get up for that. they'll get up for that game. They're able to get up. They're able to perform up to that standard. You said it about Manchester United before. Do you think there was an element of that going into the Chelsea game, and it's not as straightforward as saying you're going to go back to back and go and play against Brentford, because all of a sudden they're the type of games that those United players will think we should just be beating Brentford because we're United, or we're wearing a United shirt? Do you think that plays into it, or do you think actually no, they've made the right step in the direction to be able to now get 2 games under the belt?
Yeah, no, I think both. I think one, they should be looking at Brentford and being like, you know what, like we have one of their best player from last season in our squad. So that obviously takes a lot away from their attack. One, they also don't have Thomas Frank anymore. It's a completely different manager, a completely different setup, all these different type of things. So yeah, I think they should be also, just based off of the fact that, yeah, again, we're Manchester United by name. We do have better players on paper. We should be beating them. It's 100% a thing. But it also is, yes, they should look at that Chelsea game and be like, you know what, we were able still to get a win. A win is really tough for us to get in Manchester lately, to be honest. But they were able to get a win. They were able to beat the world champs. That's another thing too.
That's not a flex for Chelsea. I'm not flexing no world champs for Chelsea right now.
I get it.
I'm sorry.
Them, but yeah, we were able to be basically we were able to be a top side in the league that I think last year we did, honestly, even though we lost only 1-0 to them at Stamford Bridge, but we got rolled over in that game, and I didn't think we had a single chance in that game too. And but also at the other end, you're looking at, like, myself would still look at this United game and be like, if it really wasn't for that Sanchez red card, and if it wasn't for Maresca's changes, does the game still end up 2-1?
Well, that's what I want to ask the lads.
Yeah, it's one of those type of things where it's like, would that still be the result? Or how are you going to change your approach in that game too? And that's what we're looking towards Brentford. So,
was anybody else impressed with that win over Chelsea the other day, lads, as a panel? Did you look at that and start to think, okay, they might have turned the corner, Man United? And on top of that, what do you think is going to be more detrimental to their season? Potential injuries, or the AFCON that Sheik's just brought up there as a good point?
So, right, I don't think that game would have gone the same way with them changes. I mean, obviously he had to bring off someone early, so he brought off Esteval, and then he brought off Neto, who is one of their primary attacking threats, and then had to bring off Palmer, right, which completely threw the game in United's favour, even when it got Casemiro sent off. Crazy thing with them is, even with that, United against Chelsea, I'd actually put money on United and take a chance. United against Brentford, I never would. It's like that's the sort of where they are at the moment. Like, when they played against us, they put in a good performance against us. We got away with a 1-0 win. They were a hassle for us last year, UART last year, City last year, and then absolutely shocking against your West Hams and your Bournemouths and your Brentfords and whoever else, and Brighton. I don't think any of the things are going to be an impact on them this year. I just think it's Amarin. I just think Amarin's going to be the main impact. Not about the injuries, not about AFCON. I think it's already going to be set in stone prior to anything else being a potential reason. I just don't think he's not fluid enough. He's not willing to change. He's not willing to adapt in the slightest. Not even a little bit. Like, we've got managers who will keep doing a similar thing and then eventually make a sort of change or an adjustment. Amarin will not, and he even said it. He come out and said it. I'm not going to change.
I'm not going to change. If you want change, you have to get rid of me. And where do you see the game being won and lost? Because I know at the moment Manchester United haven't got a whole raft of injuries. They're in a fortunate position to be able to field the strongest 11 that Amarin can possibly put out. Where do you think the game tomorrow is going to be won and lost for them?
Do you know what? I kind of predicted Man United to do better than what they are doing at the moment, because they didn't have European football, but for some reason it's just not clicking. And I think you're right. In terms of the Chelsea game, you knew they were going to be up for that game, and even then, Chelsea probably could have got something out of the game if they really tried. If they didn't bring off the players they brought off, obviously Palmer went off with an injury. But then you fast forward it to the Brentford game. I don't know which United's going to turn up. I don't know if it's going to be the United I saw against Arsenal, or it's just going to be a random United where none of the passes are clicking. The shape looks all over the place, no communication, players doing whatever they want to kind of do in the midfield. I just don't know what to expect from United. And Brentford, you'd say, they're a good team. They lost a few players, key players in the squad. But honestly, mate, I couldn't tell you where they're going to win and lose. With this Man United team, they could easily go and win the game, but they can easily go and lose the game.
Shane, I'll ask you this then, because I probably should have titled it injuries and suspensions, really, because Casemiro's obviously going to be suspended for the game now. Does this present Kobe Mainoo a massive opportunity to be back in the mix and prove Amarim that he can be a viable option in that midfield engine room for them?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on. Apologies for the lateness. I was on with
I appreciate the raid as well. Big up anyone that was joined from the Potts and Shane raid, man. Really do appreciate it. So stick around for the show. We're going to go into the Arsenal segment pretty soon.
Yeah, on Kobe Mainoo, he's a player I highly rate, and I feel for United fans, because we have the same thing with us, where there's certain players you think they should be played in certain positions, and managers just doesn't fancy it, and will never ever sort of go back on his decisions. I still think he'll find a way to not play him. I really do. I think with Ugarte and stuff like that, he'll find a way not to play him. He'll just feel.
Really? You don't think he's?
Say...
No, do you not think he'll start either?
No, it's these guys, these modern managers, these young managers. They get something in their head, and they just are so pig-headed with it. Where you look back at the Fergusons and the likes of them, and they'd. He fell out with Schmeichel. They nearly came to blows before, and he was going to sell him, and then they had it out, and then it was just, let's move on, let's forget about it for the benefit of the team. Where these guys sort of make decisions for themselves. But it's just stubbornness and it's pig-headedness. So I don't know. I think you'll find a way not to bring him in. I really do. And then it's hard to have sympathy. It's hard to have sympathy when you're looking at these guys and they're making these decisions. But if he does play him, you see a lot of these guys, and again, we have it with us. They're almost afraid that if he does play him and he balls out, then he has a headache that he has to play him again. And he has come out and said along the lines of about not changing his tactics when they know it in their sleep, then I'll change it. You know what I mean? Which just is outrageous to me, But I feel for United fans, because they're after signing some decent attacking players. They should have signed a better keeper for me, and they should have signed a holding midfielder. But you can't sign everybody. But it's just then you have a manager with these new toys, and he doesn't know how to use them properly. But if they go and beat Brentford, it could be massive for them. It could be massive for them, because they suddenly jump right up the table. Then the feel-good factor comes back. The only thing is,
they're not that far off in terms of points. They're not a million miles away.
If they win, they're on the same points as us. If they win, they're on the same points as Arsenal. You know what I mean? And we're going to Newcastle away. So it changes everything for them. It changes everything for them. So it's just Brentford have their number, though. Brentford, ironically, we have Newcastle who have our number, but Brentford have their number. But if they go there and get a good result, put in a good performance, it'll change everything. But as for Mainoo, I don't know. He should have left for me. He should have.
Yeah, he's not going to play. He's not going to start.
Get quick though, for you. Can this, if you do get that, as Shane said, you should be level points with Arsenal there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Arsenal play on the Sunday. But would that be a springboard for you to, as a fan base, to turn around and say, right, we know it's not great. We know we've got no league cup, but we've only got to focus on the league and try and just put a run of games together. Because while we're only focusing on the league, all these other teams are going to be dealing with injuries. They're going to be dealing with multiple games a week, and they're going to have their eyes on multiple different prizes, while we can just be fixed on the one prize we need. Is it that crucial that this is a springboard for you, or are you just going to repeat the same cycle if you don't get the win tomorrow?
Yeah, well, it's like, again, to what Enz was saying too, is that it's these type of teams, he's right. It's these type of teams where we need to get results against, right? Like last year, our track record under Ruben Amorim was he was only able to beat championship sides, like sides that now have been relegated to the championship, or sides that were promoted into the Premier League last season. Those are the only teams that he was basically able to get results of. In your odd Big Six game, like when we went to Anfield, he got a 2-2 draw. We played City at Arsenal at home, and we got draws in both those games. He's able to put up a performance or whatever. But last year, when we played Brentford, they put 5 past us. And yeah, that was Thomas Frank and that was Mbeumo and all these guys, but they put 5 past us. And I think the game finished 5-3 or 5-4, something like that. So I'm looking at these type of games, and it's like, yeah, that's where I'm like, okay, there's an improvement from last year, because it's these type of results now. If we're not able to beat these type of teams like Brentford, Brighton, who, by the way, these teams are not similar to what they were last year. You have, clubs like Forest who are competing in Europe this year, so they're not going to probably be up as the same level that they are. Villa, you can already tell, are not the same way that they were last year. And I know it's only 5 games, so, teams can pick up and all of that type of stuff. But so far,
But the
We
fact
need to
if
be
you're
looking
in,
at.
if you're in that chasing path for as long
Yeah.
as possible before
Yeah.
it's like kind of like the Liverpool situation. If Liverpool can just keep that little buffer at the top while it's not really clicking,
Yeah.
you know, God help us once it does
Yeah,
click, because we
that's
should
what
be
I'm
able to
saying,
extend
yeah.
it. Use kind of in a similar situation. By the time you click, all of the other competitions are hotting up. It's getting to the serious time, and then
Yeah.
you will not be a million miles away from being able to say, all we need is a run of 5 games on the spin. Now that might seem like
Yeah.
a big ask right now in the middle at the end of September, but come January, February, March times to try and say, right, we've gelled, we've stuck with Amarin going into the back end of the season now. If we just get those 5, that might be massive to really cement us in a European spot or one of those places.
Yeah, it would definitely build a lot of confidence for this manager and for this squad and for this team right now too, because I think that's something that's really, really needed with this coach and with this team itself too. Is that, you know, there's just been for the past year or so, there's been nothing but negativity surrounding our club. You know, with just results, performances, things that are being said, certain players, situations, all of that. So I think to go on a little bit of a run would definitely help him. Would definitely boost up the team a little bit more, and would also just be like, okay, we have changed from last year. We're able to get results over teams like this. We're looking around the league and teams are dropping points and teams are not the same way that they were last year. We need to capitalize on this situation and be like, okay, go on a little bit of a run and get a couple of points and wins if you're able to, which I don't want to say that it's easy. It's a very, very big task. But if you find yourself, you know, a couple points away from certain positions or certain teams, or you're looking around, you know, the table itself and you're like, oh, we're actually, we are a couple of points off of this position and we can still, you know, try to, you know, let's get a couple more performances. If we win against a couple of these teams, we can be up there. I think, yeah, definitely is something that they need to look at. But the main thing is that you have to now. A lot of the things that I was hearing last year were a bunch of excuses, and I don't want to hear a lot of these excuses. We don't have a lot of injuries. We have replaced a lot of the players that United fans didn't want, including myself, the goalkeeper, Garnacho, Højlund, all these guys. So I don't want to hear all these type of excuses, and this is where I'm fully judging this manager too. I am currently I don't want this guy here. I do want Ruben Amorim out. But this is really the situation where, like, okay, if you are to turn heads and if you were to prove me wrong, this is the best opportunity for you to do it, because you have no other excuses left. You've gotten your players. You've gotten the players that you wanted. You've gotten the players that you wanted out, gone as well. And, you know, the whole system, this and that, you don't want to change. Cool. The club has listened to a lot of the things that you have said this summer. You wanted to keep Bruno. You didn't want to get a 100 million sale. They did that for you. So now it's time for you to deliver. It's time for you to do your job. It's time for us to see changes in from what we saw last year. And it's a big task on the manager. And if he's just not good enough, then you go, if he's not able to turn things around, then you're like, okay, cut the bullshit, full stop, get him gone. He's not good enough. You move on to the next manager. It is what it is.
Do you know what? I was looking at your fixtures just in terms of who you got after Brentford.
I think it's
you got Liverpool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got
on my birthday.
You've got
Liverpool
Sunderland.
on my birthday.
You got Sunderland next, and then Liverpool, and then it's Brighton, then Forest. So I'm looking at you've got in your next 4 games, you've got some good games where you can get some points from. The Liverpool one obviously is going to be at Anfield, so that's going to be a difficult game for you. But when I know you just said you want him out. When is it? Say he does well. Obviously, bar the Liverpool game, we want you to lose that one. But say you do well in the Brighton game, the Sunderland game, Brentford game, and you got Forest after that. Say you do well in that one, and you know with Arsenal playing Newcastle, obviously coming up in the next one. Obviously, we got Palace, which is going to be a difficult game for us. We'll get to that. But say he does well, what then? Because I think those are winnable games for him as well.
Yeah.
Because especially he's got a whole week to prep, doesn't he? He doesn't have to worry about the League Cup stuff or the Carabao Cup, I should say.
The players
FA
should
Cup
be
don't start until
fresher.
Jan. So you've got a whole week to rest and play.
Right.
United.
Yeah. So I mean, just to add a little bit of context, it does for me. It would matter how we play in those games and how we perform.
Right.
If we're able to get wins where Brighton get a man sent off or Brentford get a player sent off, and it's just us, with 11 versus 10, kind of just like how the Chelsea game kind of went, or a manager makes different substitutions that throws away the game from it. I just have to kind of see how the game itself goes. But yeah, I will. If we're able to get wins over all those teams or get good results over all those teams, then yeah, I will be like, you know what, he has kind of turned things around a little bit. because
Right.
I didn't expect him to get results in all those games, but it would heavily depend on how we do play. If we're barely scraping past these teams and we're still playing shit for, not 85 minutes out of 90 minutes in the whole entire game, then yeah, I will still be critical of him of, yes, we're able to get wins, but how long will this last? And how long are we going to just be able to scrape out wins and not have actual consistent performances and all those type of things? So that's where I would be in terms of like my mindset. I really would have to see how the game ends, how the game goes, if we're actually able to, get a win and stuff like that. But I'll just tell you this, if we end up beating Brentford and we going into that Liverpool game, if we're off of 3 wins, then yes, it would be like, okay, something is a little bit different.
And you can still whether you get a result against Liverpool or not, I can almost guarantee the performance will be there.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of a given. United will still find a way to either drag Liverpool down to the level you're currently at, or you will actually play out of your skin for 90 minutes, and it'll be, a moment of quality that have to, get Liverpool the point. So
yeah.
Muted out.
You might.
It also needs to stop. I think it'll be an interesting time for United more than anything else, on the basis that everybody else is going to be so busy. You slyly go under the radar, and if you've managed to keep everybody fresh, if you've managed to just focus on that, just training for the week and then your games on the weekend, before you know it, your league position might make you want to bin off the FA Cup come January, February time, because you think we've got more chance of just closing in on Champions League if we're just going to get a league position that warrants it. But you've got to get it right. And I think Amarin is running out of time. But I think when he looks at all the other teams and how busy they're all going to be, I think it does present United a really big opportunity, despite the fact that obviously he's on in the big competitions. But if the league's going to be your bread and butter, there really is no excuse, like you say. So it will be interesting. In terms of, I just want to segue over to another manager that doesn't particularly like to change things or trust certain youth players that they've got available to him. And look, we got the news that Noni Madueke now, he's done it's his knee, isn't it? It's not the full ACL. I'm not saying in that sense, it's Shane. It is his knee that he's done, hasn't he?
Well, they haven't confirmed it, Errol. They haven't confirmed it. He's still waiting on a scan. He's still waiting on a second scan. Yeah.
So he's waiting on a second scan at the moment, but it looks like there might be surgery required, and it could be a couple of months out on the sidelines. Again, I'll go back to the title. Will injuries derail the season? And the way I say this to the Arsenal fans is, last year it was so heavily put out there that was a valid reason as to why you weren't able to sustain it and keep up with Liverpool and go toe-to-toe to the last game of the season in a title race with Liverpool. Is that an excuse that you can lean on this season, or irrespective of the injuries now, does the squad have to compete and go the distance?
Well, for me, it's not an excuse, but it will be used as an excuse, because if you're causing something, you can't use that as an excuse. I mean, if you have 2 or 3 injuries, you can start saying, "Oh, we're unlucky." When you start getting into the 10s and 20s, and they're all muscular injuries.
Shane, sorry, 2 seconds, my mate. Sheik, thank you very much for your time, brother. I appreciate you jumping on. Thank you. Shout out your channel as well, bro. Let people know where you're at.
Yeah, Sheik TV on YouTube, people. Just hit 1K recently, so thank you guys for all the support, of course. Thank you, Errol, for having me on the channel, and bless up the panel every single time too. Love doing these shows. So everyone take care.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day,
you guys too.
Go follow Sheik TV on YouTube as well, people, when you get a chance for us. I'd really appreciate it. Sorry, Shane, as you were saying there.
All right, yeah. With the injuries, you know where I stand on these. When I was on with you last time, I said that I started naming off people that are going to drop. And they said, really, you're going to call injuries. We've seen it with this guy before. I mean, Norgard's already been injured since he's come in, training under this guy. Madueke said when he first came in, his first interview, I've never had training this intense before. He told him, Arteta came out after the City game and said he told us very early on in the first half that he felt something, and he kept him on until halftime. Till he limped off the pitch. So that's why I think the damage is more than what we're hearing, because he doesn't want it, because they'll know he
has a tendency of doing that, isn't he, Shane?
He made Saliba play against Liverpool. He made Saliba play against Liverpool. He felt something in the warm-up, made him play, took him off. He pushed Partey back on the pitch against Tottenham when his hamstring had gone. He did more damage. He played Ben White for 3 months when he needed knee surgery, on his own admittance that he needed knee surgery, because he was waiting on Timber. Then when Timber came back, he flogged him. to the point where Timber did an interview that got very buried, actually, where he said coming up to the PSG game that he couldn't walk. He didn't train for a week. Arteta said, I need you to play. You need to be ready for Managerial. He said that he was in agony, couldn't play. He had 3 different injuries, 2 in the same foot, 1 in the other leg, made him play. He's done
what
it
about the ACL as well, Timber?
Timber ACL.
Remember when he first came?
First game of the season. First game of the season. He made him play on. Made him play on.
Connor, as you're hearing this, if it's already known that Arteta's got a bit of a history and got previous with playing players and they might not be at 100% match fitness, how can the excuse of injuries then keep coming back into play from Arsenal fans? How do they continue to justify that? Because to me, it doesn't make no sense.
No, I mean, to look at it from a professional standpoint, right, of what they all are professionals, whether it's players, whether it's the backroom staff, the manager. Would any of them, I don't know if this is me just trying to make sense in my head, but would any of them actually have someone forward playing on the pitch if they haven't been cleared by the medical staff, right? So if they have been cleared by the medical staff,
the medical staff will say, I wouldn't risk this guy, or he's in the red, or he's not fit. The final decision falls on the manager. But Timber's come out and said it. He's carrying 3 injuries, and he told him he has to play.
It's annoying from the point of a fan of the club when that is the kind of thing that is going on. But then it's also difficult because you want to have your best players on the pitch who can actually perform and get the wins in.
But do you think this season now, lad? Do you think this season now you've built up a big enough squad with enough quality amongst the squad that then means, all right, Noni Adwecky's going to be injured, but you've got Ethan Yeri.
He rushed Saka back. He's already rushed Saka back. Now he played him for 60 minutes. He's rushed him back for tomorrow or for Sunday. He's rushed him back already. He'll do it again. He'll drop very soon again. He was rushed back last time. He was rushed back from Madrid. He does it all the time. All the time he rushes them back. And he never gets held accountable for it. So you'll see it now. Saka's rushed back. Havertz is going to get rushed back. He did last time. That's why they're dropping again. It'll just keep happening. It'll keep happening over and over and over again. Ben White hasn't been right since last season.
Do you genuinely think then, Shane, that at some point will unravel the season, whether you want to put it down to injuries or whether you want to put it down to the poor preparation from the manager to reintegrate them back into the squad? Do you think that continuation of not allowing your players to get fully match fit will unravel the potential of Arsenal's season?
Yeah, but you see, it's the training as well. The players come out and admit that the training's massively intense. Like Havertz snapped his hamstring in Dubai doing intense training and warm weather training. Like we had 3 grade 3 hamstrings. 3% of hamstring injuries are grade 3. That's the most severe hamstring you can get. They're all fatigue injuries, Errol. They're all fatigue injuries. They're all knees, hamstrings, groins. These lads are being run into the ground, and it's because of the training. It's because of the way he makes them track back for 90% of the game. They're just constantly tracking back. They're also regimented, and the thing is, if you look at Norgard, he got injured in training as soon as he came. Nketiah did his groin in training. He's only played 6 minutes. Madueke now the knees gone.
He was injured.
Groin. Norgard was injured. And then obviously the Saka being rushed back. And Saka, let's get it right. When he came back at last season, it's no coincidence he was back just in time for the Madrid game. Right, just in time for the Madrid game. Came back. He played on adrenaline for a while. Then he had about 12 games where he did nothing. He hasn't looked right, and now his other hamstring's gone, and he hasn't looked right. And he's going to permanently damage a lot of these players. And people think that, you're just looking for reasons. I'm telling you, man, it's not even that. It's the training. It's the fact that he has his favorite 11. Odegaard got rushed back from a shoulder injury because then he fell on it again, and he was out again with the set. People say it's unlucky he fell on the same shoulder. Well, if it was fully healed, it wouldn't have mattered.
I thought he fell on the other shoulder. I thought he fell on the opposite shoulder. He was holding one shoulder one game, the other one the other. I'm gonna check this because I'm pretty sure he just got weak bones.
No, same shoulder. Same shoulder.
And are we now finding ourselves in not necessarily a similar situation, but out of all of the positions where you'd probably least want an injury to happen this early in the season for Liverpool, the centre-half department is right up there for me. Leone looked like he was having a good game, albeit it's against Southampton. We don't really know that it's not really a fair metric of the quality of the player that he is versus the opposition. but he looked like he could have still been a viable option for us and made some appearances down as the season gone on. League Cup, I say we're trying to manage minutes across the squad. Are you now a little bit worried that Liverpool have to keep our players fit right up until we can even discuss reinforcements in January? Or do we just kind of have to hope and pray that we'll be fine for the entirety of the season with what we've got?
I think it's more the optics than anything, to be fair. Did I expect him to play a lot of games? Probably not. He's 18 years of age. I didn't look. Obviously, we didn't get Mark Way, so you go. He's probably moved forward in the pecking order. He's probably dropped to 5th. Probably played in the under-21s more games, and then maybe you saw him in the Carabao Cup. But I don't think it's time to panic. I just think it's the outlook of it now, because did I expect him to come in and play Premier League games? Probably not. I wanted to kind of see him play. The problem we have is we've now seen him play. So it makes it more of a bigger thing than he actually is, because before he played, we were just kind of gone, we know he's there, but he's just there.
We've not drawn for him yet. We've not drawn for it. So it's like, yeah.
So you just like, so it's a similar position, but now he's actually injured. He's just not in. He didn't make the match day squad a few times anyway so far this season. So I think it's just how it looks. And then you go, oh, we only have 3 fit senior centre halves. I think that's more what it is than actually.
And I'm not going to lie, seeing Joe Gomez play 90 the other day and he was shaky, I'm like, we've only really got 2. And I don't really want to be drawn for Endo to have to slot back in there either.
But then Errol, I think optics again, because the game before that, we applauded him against Arsenal when he came in and he had to play, 15 minutes? Yeah. And he looked really, really good. So I think it's just on the day. Look, I don't want to be in a situation where we only have 3 fit centre halves. I don't think no team in the Premier League would want to be in that position. I don't want to then think, oh yeah, Gravenberch can go there. I don't want to be in that position. But at least we're in a position where, yes, he's 18. If we didn't see him play, we'd have probably gone, oh, someone else could have just filled the gap until January around the corner, and then we can look at it. Obviously, we hope for no more injuries and fingers crossed. You know, the way that we've managed it so far since Arne Slot has stepped in the building, we've minimized a lot of our injuries. And when we have picked up injuries, we've found solutions within the team. And listening to the gaffer as well, and he said, look, I need to be better at rotating the team. So there's going to be games where you don't see the best 11 because he doesn't want the fringe players or the players that don't get to play enough. They come in and they don't look ready. So maybe that's going to help us as well, balance that, so we're not picking up any like major injuries. Look, it needs a bit of luck. I get it, but I think we'll be fine, man. I'll say that now and then. But
do you think, and I didn't get a chance to ask Sheik this, so I'll ask you like this now. Do you think there is an opportunity for the likes of a Manchester United going into, especially between this period, whether we like Amorim or we don't, it's none of our business really. But do you think there is the amount of workload that these lads? So right, we're going to have couple more Premier League games, the international break. Most of them all play for the national teams. Then we're going to come back. It's going to be Champions League. It's going to be Premier League. We're still in the cup games. So then we're still going to be in cup games. That is going to be our modus apparatus now up until January. A team like Man United only playing once a week. Surely they should be able to string some games together in order to really put pressure on the clubs that are having to do it 2-3 times in 7 days. We played last week. We played 3 games in 7 days. Sunday, was it Sunday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, something like that. It's crazy the turnaround that we're doing. Are we at a slight disadvantage as a result, or is just this the way it's got to be for teams of the Arsenals and the Liverpools this season?
I mean,
we're successful, man.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about how like United are going to, like you said, should not United be trying to kind of.
Is there an opportunity?
No, not for them. And you know what? I hate talking down on United when like Sheik's on the show, because he's such a nice fan and a level-headed fan. And I wanted to say something when he was still here, but the time ran out. But he made a point earlier on saying like moments where they've looked good. He doesn't know if it's like the new players or if it's Amorim's system coming into play. It's 100% the new players, because where they've looked bad, they've looked like an Amorim team from last season. The only places they've looked good has been Cunha in spurts prior to his injury, and Buemo, obviously. They need Sesko to pick up. He's their big money signing. Do you know what I mean? He's got to compare himself to Gyökeres, to Ekitike, to Isak, to Pedro to Haaland. Haaland's had the worst start to a Premier League season he's ever had, and he's already got like 6 goals, I swear. Like, those are the people you need to be aiming to compare yourself to, and they're not doing it. So, yeah, I don't think they should, in theory,
but in reality,
United ain't going to.
Okay, I can live with that. For me, Shane, if I ask you this then right now, you've got to manage, you've got to work with Arteta. You get the opportunity to go in, work with Arteta. Whose minutes out of your mainstay 11 are you more carefully managing over the next couple of weeks to ensure that when you need them to rely on them, they are there ready to go and give it 110%?
Saka and Rice have to be the main ones. Gabriel as well. He hasn't looked. He's been brilliant since this season. But if you watch that Haaland goal when he had to open up his legs, he couldn't keep up. He couldn't keep up. The grade 3 hamstring, and he's quite quick. Gabriel's normally quite quick. And Saliba as well. So when you're looking at it, sadly, it is our best players, but it's all a culmination of the years of them being flogged. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at us against Port Vale, he brought Gabriel and Rice on. Why'd you even make them travel? Why even make them travel to the game? We're playing Port Vale. Like, just leave them at home. Tell them, put your feet up. You know, Gabriel.
Isn't that what you built the biggest squad for this season?
But it's still, it's Gabriel who's coming back from a grade 3 hamstring, and Rice hasn't looked right fitness wise. He's been running to the ground. So we're playing Port Vale. Put 2 of the kids on the bench. Let them, just tell them, sit at home to sit this one out. Saka, I kind of get that he's coming back from injury and he's trying to rush him back for the Newcastle game, right? If you're going to do that, do it. But Saka's minutes have never been managed. They have never been managed. There's a list of games through the last few years where we've been 5-0 up or 4-0 up and he's kept them on for the whole 90, and there's never been a need for it. He does it all the time. So with Saka, I'd be watching his minutes. I'd be, right, if we have to start him in these games because Madueke's out or whatever, if we go 2-0 up, take him off straight away, you know, but he won't. And that's the frustrating part. We know he won't, but it'll be Saka and Rice, and then the 2 centre-backs for me would be getting their minutes managed. But especially Saka and Rice, because they don't look right, and both of them are going to drop with an injury. I'd say they're both in the red zone. You can see it in them, they're both in the red zone. And it's an awful thing to see because, you know, you can see it coming. But and with Saka and Rice, they're kind of like Jack Wilshere, where they don't have a 4th gear. So when they're on the pitch, they're always on it. They're always all or nothing. And they end up doing it to themselves. So they're the type of players that need to be held back, because Arteta's already thrown Saka under the bus in the press conference before the Port Vale game, where he said, oh, well, he needs minutes and he's demanding to play. You know, so he always says that they're demanding to play. So he throws them under the bus. Then if something goes wrong, then it's not his fault.
Do you know?
But Saka needs his minutes managed, and so does Rice.
Now I'm going to say, similar to us, that we rested quite a lot, and I get where you're coming from, because you don't want to see like Virgil and these guys on the bench, Salah's on the bench when we was playing Southampton, and the fact that you'd say, you know, Southampton would be a better team than Port Vale. So you'd probably understand if we had a Virgil and a Salah probably on the bench just in case. But
and use our home as well. We just travel.
Yeah, we just said, nah, stay at home. Yeah. We don't need you. Just use the squad that we have and bring in.
That's what I was saying to Shane before. Well. Isn't that the reason we've built this bigger squad with more quality, so that they could afford to leave the Gabriels, the Sakas at home when they're playing the Port Vales of this world, and you know, whoever else they're going to get in the early rounds of the cup. Going into this weekend's games, lads, I don't want to be too hyperbolic in this, but does it already feel like a little bit of a must-win weekend for Arsenal? I know you play on a Sunday, so the pressure's then turned over to Arsenal if Liverpool get the job done on Saturday. But do you feel, and I'll ask Connor this first, do you feel like you can get the result at St. James's Park, and is it a must-win?
I think it is a must-win, but it's weird. It's a must-win because when you look at the table, we're 5 points behind. But the run of games that we've had at the start of the season compared to yours, you've got that run of games coming up. You've got like a block of what are considered to be more difficult fixtures. It is a must-win from a mentality standpoint, because if we do drop any more, no matter what games we've got coming up, it's going to look like an absolute mountain to climb. Do I think we can do it? Man, we've spoken enough. I will always say we can do it. Even if deep down I don't think we can, which is very rare, let me just say, but I will always say that we can do it. Especially with, this Newcastle team same as when you guys went there. They put in a performance I didn't expect. They're still not settled. You know what I mean? They're still not kind of like
They're not
completely
scoring
back
goals.
together.
Yeah,
No.
they're not finding ways to score goals at the minute. Good defensively.
Exactly.
I know we put 3 past them, but outside of that, I think Newcastle have been pretty good
To
defensively.
be fair, though,
that's
they
the only
scored
3 they
40
played
the other night as well, didn't they? They
That's the only
scored
3 they
40 the
played
other
in.
night.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that League Cup.
I think it was like
as well,
4. Yeah, it was 2.
4-1, yeah.
Who scored 2? Joe Linton scored 2.
Joe Linton and
Yeah, they
Lucio
did.
or
They
something, he
played
scored
another
2 as
Prem
well.
team, didn't they?
Can't remember who they actually played, but they did score. But yeah, the only goal they conceded was against us in the Prem, I think
That's
it was.
it, yeah.
So
Shane, what are your thoughts? What do you feel? Oh, it was against Bradford City, boys. What are we doing?
Bradford, yeah.
It was against
yeah,
Bradford.
it's still
I can score
scoring
against
though.
Bradford. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Shay, what are you saying? No, do you feel like whether it's a must win or not? Do you feel like Arsenal will get the job done?
For the league, the must win was last weekend against City. I think we're out of the league already. I never had us in with a shout anyway. But it's must win as in for his sake, because the pressure will really grow on him if we don't. The thing is, we've gone there. The last 3 times we've gone there, we've had 3 shots on target in the 3 matches combined at St. James's Park. We've lost them all. We've had 3 shots on target on our last 3 visits there. We had 2 shots on. Sorry, 1 shot on target at Anfield. We had 2 shots on target at Old Trafford. We had 3 shots on target at home to City, the game we dominated more than anybody has ever dominated. So we're going to go there. We'll be lucky to get 2 shots on target. On average, that's what we're doing against the big teams. If you look at their midfield, Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno, up against Zubamendi, Rice, and will probably be Odegaard. I think they're going to bully us, and I think Zubamendi's going to get cut out. I like Zubamendi, by the way. When he's got time on the ball, he's one of the best. But high press, he's not too good. But I put it in there. I had a panel last night on my channel, and there was about 220 people in, and we voted on win, lose, or draw, and it was 13% that had us to win. And then on Dan's just now, there was 17% had us to win. And after everything we've spent and how Newcastle have started, for us to have that lack of confidence going into a game is a disgrace, by the way, that our club, after everything that's been spent, all the time this guy's had. But it's must win as in, you know, do you know what? Even if Liverpool lose, if they were to go, and which I think they're going to beat Palace, but if they were to lose, it's even worse then for us not to win. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh,
well, that's a repeat of last season. As soon as Liverpool give you a chance,
exactly.
And
if it goes to 8 points, it's over. And
we need to win something this season, right? I'm saying this now. I don't want us to win something this season for me. I want us to win something this season for you, Shane. Because, man, I need some energy from you. So you supporting Arsenal, it's like watching someone who knows the drink is killing them, but they keep pulling for another one.
No. That's people will say that all they want, man. People say that all they want. I've been there and done it with Arsenal. I've been there and done it. When Arsenal are doing well and when I have hope in the team, I'm insufferable. As in, I go on about them so in glowing terms all the time. I'm insufferable the way I go on about them. People are going, "Oh, it's 5 games in. Why are you being so negative?" No, it's not. It's 6 years in. It's 6 years and 5 games in with this manager, right? Everything that I'm saying is just fact about the amount of shots we've had on target, the way we're playing, the injuries, all of that stuff, right? When we're winning and when I have hope, and I have no hope in this manager, that's my problem. And if you have been there, you are Liverpool fans, there's Liverpool fans on one side and there's an Arsenal fan. But when you hate your manager, or when you have zero hope in your manager and you love your football club with all your heart, it's the worst place in the world to be in. It's the worst place in the world to be in. People think we get off on it being negative. It's not. This guy has just taken every ounce of hope I have from this club, every ounce of it, because every time I let my guard down, he trips up or he makes a silly decision, or he plays 3 fridges in midfield in a big game. He does it all the time.
Well, that was what I was going to ask, Barry. What will be the midfield? Do you think he'll take? Because I know he made that. I know we spoke about it in the week. He might leave the handbrake on, which again I just thought that was wild.
That's our tactics from now on, Errol. That's our. I called the team. I told you. I called those 3 midfield. It's Odegaard, Royce, and Zubamendi. If Odegaard's fit, and if he's not fit, it's Marino again. That's a guarantee. He will not play.
I don't think that's a game he can put.
Eze won't even start. I
don't think it's a game he can throw Odegaard in either. But like, not against those 3. Coming back from a shoulder injury, you don't. That's not the type of game you just throw him.
Well, I think Eze would have been the perfect fit to start last week against that Man City midfield. But I think he's done himself. he's made a rod for his own back, because whether you like it or not, what I'm about to say, Shane, I think this is true. I think the midfield that he's played against City and against us would have been better suited to go and actually go toe-to-toe with a Newcastle midfield. There's more physicality in there. There's obviously there's more of those players that can actually stand man for man against some of those Newcastle players in terms of the man marking ability. You don't have to be able to overly create them, but in terms of the work rate and the energy levels, I think you could have outran them in that midfield room. In terms of a matchup, that matchup to me seems like a better midfield battle than if you was to drop Odegaard in, because I think Odegaard could get lost in that midfield, especially if he's in himself knows he's coming back from an injury and he's not 100% fit. The last thing he really wants to be doing is getting roughed up by Joelinton or Bruno Guimaraes just coming in and just crunching him. So it's not to say you'd have played better footy, but and again, on the road to a Newcastle team that you haven't got a great record against, it might have been. But the rod for his own back is now, it hasn't worked previous 2 games that he's tried it. So if he was to roll those dice again and get it wrong again now...
he's more likely to do it then, though. He's more likely to do it. If people are saying he shouldn't, he'll double down on it. He does it every time. Partey at right back. We worked once. We won one, and he did it. Now all these stats are coming out about playing Marino and Rice together. He doubles down. He doubles down on it every single time.
They haven't won a game where they both started in midfield together yet, have they?
They've won
one game in 10. And it was the same for Partey winning it at right back. Partey, they had that one victory, and then there must have been a case in 9 other games that he didn't get the results. Which was absolutely baffling. Ends, before we round off the show, do we apply the utmost pressure to Arsenal this weekend and get the W over Crystal Palace? Or do you think Ekatike has hampered us in our ability to kind of get extra fresh legs on the pitch, or does that not even matter? Inconsequential?
Nah, do you know what? 2 good questions there. I think the pressure is already on them, to be fair. And all we could now do is just keep piling those pressures on. Every single time we get to play before them, get that W, because eventually they'll crack. And look, at one point it was only a couple of points. Now it's 5. It could be 8 by the end of the weekend, and then we move again for the following week. And then with the Ekatike stuff, that just shows how important he is. That we're going, I can't believe he's going to be missing the game. That's how much he's hit the ground running in the Premier League. But look, there's players there. Chiesa looked really, really good against Southampton.
My reservation about Chiesa is, and we've seen it when he did the Plymouth game, he played and then he couldn't play again for about three months afterwards. It must have been probably about 6-7 weeks afterwards he got his next game. I hope in that space of time he's a lot more match fit so he can play 2 games in a week, because he did the 90 the other day, and to expect him to be able to do another hour in his tank, I hope he's got it in his locker right now, and that'll give me a lot of belief that we can start to use him more frequently. But that's my reservation. Is Chiesa robust enough at the moment to do?
I think if you looked at the game and you watched it, I think you could see that from minute 1 to minute 90, he didn't stop. There was no moment when you was like, oh, he's looks a bit leggy here, looks tired. He just went. And look, he's not going to start the game for me against Palace. But if you're saying we need to change it and, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, he can certainly do half an hour and give us everything in that as well. Yes, I would prefer to have Ekatike there, but we don't. But this is what you mentioned earlier in the start of the stream about the squad and the injuries. It's a suspension, not an injury, but this is where you utilize the squad that we've built. And you just need everyone to kind of turn up and do their part. Isak will get a chance to play 50 minutes, I reckon 60, see what he's got there. And then the gaffer just has to find the right solution, whether it's Chiesa through the middle, or he moves Gakpo through the middle, and then Chiesa goes over on the left. Whatever solution he kind of figures out, and we have to. We can't. If we don't get the points, we can't say it's because Ekatike weren't there.
No,
if we don't get the points. You know what I mean? So we have to go there and go, right, we've got a good squad. We've got a great 11 to start the game. Let's go there and get the 3 points, put the pressure on Arsenal. And then now that Newcastle, especially what Shane said, they've had 3 shots on target against that Newcastle team. Yes, it's a team without Alexander Isak now, but it's still all the other players. It's still all the other players. It's still the same defense, still the same midfield. And they've got another striker up there. And they've got other attackers like Elanga they've got to deal with now. So not only do they have to worry about just Gordon with the speed, they've got Elanga they've got to worry about with that speed over there as well. So, and they can bring on their Murphys and so forth. But look, I just want to keep winning games of football, man. But it's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy game. And Palace are going to want to they're going to want to try and, win that one so they can be the only
Twist the
unbeaten team.
juice. Yeah. Well, that's it. The battle of the unbeatens, man, at the moment. Lads, people in the chat as well, let me know some of your score predictions for this weekend's games. Just put them in the chat and I'll try and bring a couple of them up before we jump off air. But I'll go to Connor first. Give me your score predictions for our games over the weekend. The Liverpool Palace one, and then going into the Arsenal-Newcastle game, bro.
Liverpool Palace. I'm going with my heart. I'm going 2-2. I'm going with my head. Probably 4-2 to you lot. Arsenal, close game. Again, I'm going to back us every single time. 3-2 Arsenal. St. James
Said that with
Bar.
no conviction, by the way.
I'm gonna put 5
3-2.
You know what? See when you asked 2 weeks ago, and I was like, 3-0 against Forest, and we smashed them. 3-0. This one, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I said it, so I'm sticking with it. 3-2.
Okay. We're getting some in the comments here. We're getting some in the comments there. 2-1 seems to be the common theme for Liverpool at the minute. Shane, give us your thoughts. Weekend's games. Give us some predictions, fella.
I've Liverpool on my Super 6 for 2-1. I have them to win 2-1. I think that when they do, I've said it before, that their whole thing this season is about just smashing teams off the park. People seem to think that Liverpool, with the way they've let teams back in, they're weak. They're not. Wait till they click, man. If you look at the Bournemouth, all the games that they've gone 2-0 up in, why are they pushing for the third? If they get the third, the other team just shuts them shop. They don't try to come back. It's over. So there, you can see a lot of games this season where they're 3-0 up at half time, and then they'll keep a clean sheet on the back of the other team, just saying, right, it's damage control. So they're just a little tweak away from that clicking, and they're just going to smash everybody. They'll obviously lose a couple of games throughout the season. Here, there's always those freak results. But I have you winning 2-1. I love Palace, by the way. I love Glasner. I love the way they play. I think they're one of the best counter-attacking sides in the league, so you will have to watch out for that. That's why I have them scoring. I think Mateta's a baller. But I think 2-1 to Liverpool, and I have us losing 1-0 in the Super 6. I just see if we've lost 1-0 there so often. If they score early and it turns into a midfield battle, which it will be one in the midfield, I just think their midfield absolutely crushes ours. I think Newcastle have one of the best midfield three in Europe as a complete midfield. They're unbelievable. So I just think Zubamendi's going to get caught out on the high press, and I really, really hope he doesn't. But I just have a bad feeling for it. It's Newcastle, and they always do. As Eddie Howe has Arteta's number, and they despise us, and rightly so, because we've blamed the ball, we've blamed the refs, we've blamed we haven't. Mikel Bundy.
It was out.
Mikel Bundy's blamed it. Yeah, he's blamed the refs, and he's blamed the ball, and he's blamed everything else. So yeah, no, 1-0 Newcastle, sadly.
Good evening, Mav. Good evening, man. Well, make sure you can watch it all on playback, guys. In the chat as well, make sure you do drop a like and a share. Make sure you subscribe into the channel. Make sure you subscribe to everybody who's on the panel as well. We will be shouting out our channels in a couple of moments. I've got one more score prediction to lock in before we head out and let you guys enjoy your weekend. Got to end on a high note. Come on, Ends. Give me some energy, bro. What are you saying?
100. Oh, listen, we're going to win, but I'm going to side with Shane here. I think we're going to go 2-1. Look, they're a very good defensive side, and we tend to not, I wouldn't say struggle, but we do struggle to break down these teams. And the games against Palace, especially that
well organized
in the league, they're
very well organized, man.
Yeah, so but I think
Dino's wearing his hat, you're in trouble. You're not scoring.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get 2, but I think they get 1. They're at home, so I expect them to get 1. Sar's back in the midfield as well. I think Walton's back as well. So they've got players now to play. But I'll go 2-1 to us. I think with Alexander Isak starting as well, I think he's going to cause them a little bit of different type of problem that they haven't been kind of used to as well.
More active than in the midweek. He only had 17 touches on Tuesday, so we're going to need to try and find 17
touches and 2. It should have 2 goals. I don't mind it.
I know.
This is what Haaland's about. Haaland had 8 touches in one game and scored a hat-trick. So these type of players, you don't need them to get involved as much, but when you give them the chance, you want it in the back of the net. And then for Arsenal, I think it's going to be a 1-1.
Asian Pops makes a really good point. An early goal changes their strategy. That's what happened. That's what happened to Atletico. It was those 2 early goals that meant Atletico couldn't just sit and just keep it tight.
Had to come out and play.
They had to come out and play. And they almost got themselves back into the game, a couple of fluke goals. But I think Beja makes a great point there, big up Pops, when he says, if we get the early goal, it could just change the whole trajectory of that game.
And then with Arsenal, I'm gonna go 1-1. I think they will score, but I just look at the Newcastle team and I go like they can cause you problems from the counter attack. Because if they're gonna sit in, I don't know if Arsenal if they leave those wide areas open. I don't think they will because they normally try and congest the field. But the speed of Elanga and Gordon is going to cause them so much problems. But I think Arsenal will score, but I also think Newcastle can harm them from a counter attack set piece. They're good, in the transitions as well, and they've got players that can come on, just power legs and could probably score a goal as well. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
Leclerc Balding always plays well against us too, man. And he's back on suspension as well, isn't he?
It is, yeah. First game back. And plug your channel, bro. Let people know where they can tune in, like, and subscribe to your comment.
I appreciate you again for the invite, man. As always, man. Big up to the panel first and foremost. Football with Ends, guys. Liverpool channel, but we're open and honest, man. And I love the way we talk about the game, the way we break it down. And some people like it, some don't. But come over, give us a chance, and see how you feel. And hopefully you love it and you want to stay forever, man. But appreciate you again, Errol, for the invite, man.
Nah, man, blessings, bro. Thank you very much for making the time for us. Shane, let people know where they can tune into your comment. Thank you as well for joining in on the chat with us tonight and bringing over some guys from the raid from Potter's side. So yeah, plug your channel, bro. Let people know where your content is.
No, first of all, thanks for having me on. Big up to everybody on the panel, absolute legends, and big up to the legendary chat as well. Yeah, Shane Gooner. Every morning, 10:30, I have the full Irish breakfast. That's a regular. That's always done. I'm doing a Serie A watch along tomorrow at 2:00, and then I have at 10:00 tomorrow night the tactical breakdown, a show where I just spend about an hour going into the upcoming match. Pick the first 11 that we assume Arteta will pick, and then one that maybe the people in the chat think that we should pick, and maybe have a look at the Newcastle and see the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. But lots of stuff on the channel. It's already lined up. It's all there. If you want to hit the notification, come over, show some love. And yeah, big up to everybody, man. Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, definitely go show some love to both of those channels. And finally, Connor, what have you got cooking in the lab at the minute, bro? Talk to me.
Right, yeah. So you can find me on all relevant platforms, CDL Arsenal. As always, man, appreciate you having me on, man. It's always a good chat. I've been quiet this week because I spent the entire week editing a video for YouTube that literally went up on my channel about 30 minutes into us being on this stream. There was me and a few of us from the stream, guys that normally on there. We done some football in-person stuff, done a challenge, got a pro keeper, and yeah, that's now live. So if anyone wants to go show that some love and hit that new hype button that's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the thing they've got. Yeah, YouTube
man.
Introduced the hype button as well, man.
Yeah.
Get out there to say
anything is welcome and appreciated, man. All of us are just out here trying to make this our full time. Do you know what I mean?
100%, bro. 100%. Continue the grind. I hear it. I do. Well, ladies and gents, that is a wrap from another Red Cartel. We will be back. I'm just letting you know in advance. We might be back a little bit earlier next week. I've got some other engagements Friday evening, but stay tuned. We will keep you posted on that. But for the time being, big up, blessings to everybody on the panel, blessings to everybody in the chat. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend, everybody.